Yeah, and you're an e-sailor yourself, Arthur. What kind of feelings will be going through the sailors' heads at this moment as they start for the first race in this match?
Yeah, I think the players will have made a lot of calculations in their head already, and so the French can be really confident with their win on Friday. So they managed to win every race, which is really a confidence boost. The Germans will really try to find out what went wrong earlier on today, and hopefully adjust and make sure they can win a few more matches.
Brilliant. And I think we have the standings coming up now. We have Japan at the top of the standings on 6 points, and France in second place on 4 points at the moment. So France, if they win, they go through. I believe you've been doing the calculations, Cube. How are they looking?
Yeah, exactly. So for France, it's looking pretty easy. They just need a win against Germany. So as soon as they win 3 races, they're through to the knockout stage. For Germany, it's a bit more important that they have a good day here, that they manage to win at least 2 races. Otherwise, they will be out of this Nations Cup.
Yeah, so it's a key race for these teams, and yeah, it's been exciting to see Germany. They've already raced today, and there was some exciting matchups for sure, and some close battles that were going on through the field. Was there anybody that particularly shone in your eyes, Oscar, when you were watching those matches?
I was surprised by Carol Linju, who I've never seen before. I don't think I've seen her. Yeah, and she did some really good maneuvers and races, so it was a great surprise to see her. Um, Japan scared us again. They lost their 2 first matches, the same they did against Switzerland, coming back from 2-0 to take the win. Currently, we're just waiting for the players to join the arenas. Looks like we're still missing one.
Got you. Well, I'm sure the nerves will be racking up with some of the players as they. Of course, this is a virtual game. We come into these difficulties very occasionally, but I'm sure that the e-sailors will be doing the best of their ability to get to the start line on time. No boats to rig, of course. Just computers to switch on and fingers to warm up. So we'll see. We can see Caroline Ju and UOL TK from the German team will be racing under their German flag they are in and ready to go. And we also have Barbie 22 from Germany, who should be joined by Alex Kay, who is already a very esteemed e-sailor himself. He won the 2022 eSailing World Championships. Very strong e-sailor himself. So yeah, we're just waiting for him to join our match at the moment. Is there any other matches that you're excited to see going forward, Arthur, in terms of the makeups of the format?
Well, to be honest, I'm really looking forward to the first one because, in my opinion, this team racing in very slow boats makes it so exciting to watch because it really comes down to the details. And yeah, as a team, you have to work together, fight to the finish line, and maneuvers and penalties can happen even at the last second of the race, and they can make a difference. So that makes those races so nail biting till the end.
Yeah, I personally love the Star. I think I've never raced it in real life. I'd love to give it a bash, but on the virtual waters, it's always a fun one with a big wind shadow. It opens things up in the downwinds a lot, and as you say, you get a lot of changes in those final seconds, and it can really come down to a nail biting finish. It looks like we've got our e-sailors all in the arena, and we've joined them here live on the start line. Arthur, why don't you talk us around some of the pre-race tactics and starting positions as we gear up a minute away from the start?
Yeah, so in the 2v2, the rule is very simple. You don't want to finish last. If your team is not last, you win the race. So at the start, it's crucial to not get a penalty there and to just have a safe and good start. If you manage to give the other team at least one penalty, that's a bonus, but it's definitely not necessary. And you want to be careful to not lose from the first stack.
Absolutely, and yeah, thank you very much for everybody who's joined us here live on Twitch. Hello to you all. Please do let us know where you're tuning in from, and we'll be sure to give you a shout out. We're 20 seconds away from the start. We can see we've got pink interlocked with yellow, and it looks like we're going to have quite a fair start without any penalties here. The pink boat on the right hand side looks like they're just going to be stuck there, but they've given a penalty to Carolingju. He picked up, looks like a windward leeward penalty there, and on the back foot already, Germany.
Yeah, those are really the kind of situations you want to avoid here. So for ULTK, it's important now to stay close to the two French boats, to not lose any meters, and then you still have a downwind where you can make up a lot of space, but you don't want to end up in the back from this first upwind.
Yeah, I think Carolingju's actually, I mean, she's managed to get herself into some clear wind on that right hand side until Barbie's probably going to slam one on top of her here. I would imagine. It's Alex K who slams it on her using those wind shadows. We'll see that throughout the matchup today. The wind shadows are extremely important in team racing, and really do have quite a big impact, especially in the star class, don't they, Arthur?
Yeah, exactly. And we saw close cross there from Alex K, and it looked like ULTK was actually just in front, which is a very good position for him. So we have this right hand shift coming up, which is going to put him in a little worse position. So hopefully he'll be able to just cling on to that front group and give some powerful wind shadow on the downwind.
And it looks like Barbie has taken advantage of that right hand shift, just banking the gain underneath the ley lines here. For those of you who aren't used to eSailing, these ley lines, they define the most efficient route to the mark. You want to stay within those ley lines. If you're on the outside of them, you're sailing more distance than everyone else, and we can see Barbie's just sitting herself within those ley lines really nicely, nice, efficient, and a low risk way to the mark there, and she'll be first round Mark 1.
Yeah, so we see here that the German team managed to minimize the damage from that penalty at the start, and so they're well within wind shadow distance.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Arthur, but when I'm sailing the Star, I do quite like to be a little bit on the back foot. I always feel in a little bit of a stronger position when I've got the wind shadow to my advantage. How do you like to race these races?
Yeah, for me, I must say I prefer to be the one rounding the top mark in last position.
Yeah.
It's really a choice, and even among top e-sailors, some prefer to lead, some prefer to follow. It depends a bit on what type of racing you like.
Totally, and we can see the German team. They're really trying to protect this left-hand side as we look downwind here. The left-hand side, it gives you starboard advantage when you're coming back in, so it's a very, very powerful position to be in. And we can see that UOLTK has performed that pretty well and managed to take a lead over Alex K here.
Yeah, and we can see that left-hand shift coming in on the radar, and so all boats are trying to go to the right-hand side, to the right-hand gate, as we see right now on the screen, to take advantage of that shift and tack straight away, which is exactly what the French did.
It looks like UOLTK tried to go for the luffing penalty there, and it's just not worked out for him there, as it at all. Picked up a penalty himself, which is going to put him a little bit more in the last place, doesn't it?
Yeah, now it's up to their female player to defend on Alex K, keep him close to URLTK, so that the fight can continue. So we see in the Star that those downwinds are really dominant in terms of defining the race. So in the upwind, you just want to minimize your damage. You want to do a little bit of a tag battle sometimes, but you don't want to make any big mistakes.
Whoa, big dial down there between Alex K and ULTK. Alex Kay dishing out a serious penalty there, with the dial down, using that starboard advantage that rule that we have in sailing, where if you have the wind coming over the right hand side of your boat, you have right of way, and the other person has to keep out of your way. And ULTK didn't seem to do that, and picked up a penalty. So yeah, still some work to do here from the Germans to fight back.
And a very smart move there from Barbie, who tacked over on starboard tack and pushed Carolinju so that she couldn't tack and cover Alex Kay. And while tacking, the German female player actually got a penalty. So now Barbie is controlling her quite well, keeping the distance quite low, we must say. So there will still be a battle on the downwind, but the French are in a good position to lead this final downwind to the finish.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. That's obviously last leg of the first race, and once you have that momentum, it can definitely stay in your favour throughout this match, and we'll see who takes first blood.
Yeah, now as a team, communication is going to be really important. So for the Germans, they will have to pick one of the two boats, single them out, and try to give them a penalty, while making sure that the other boat from the French team can't come back and hand out the penalty back again. So you see now that they're trying to single out Alex Kay, I think, which has fallen a little behind. However, they're still going fairly straight, not trying any aggressive luffs or covers.
Alex has got that left hand side on ULTK though, still in a strong position, and covering Carolinja as well.
Yeah, Carolinja just gave up her advantage on the left hand side of the course there. So now Alex Kay will try to get up to speed and try to do a hook maneuver.
Oh, good penalty there from Carolinja. That was a fantastic maneuver just to put Barbie out of the game there.
Yeah, perfectly planned. Very much up to the details. She had to go and jibe right behind Barbie and then hook back.
Not all over yet at all though, as we can see the wind shadow here, as shown with the light blue bit, is really coming into play here, and Alex Kay is trying to put on as much as that wind shadow on Carolinja as possible.
Yeah, very smart penalty there by Barbie, and it looks like Carolinju has lost control of her boat.
Oh, that's a big shame. That was a tight battle on that downwind. We can see with the star, it's just so tight with that wind shadow being so powerful, and France take first blood with the first point on the scoreboard. Oscar, what did we make of that?
That was a fantastic race. Great maneuvers by both teams. Yeah, not much to say. Great racing. Germany are going to want to stay at it and keep doing this. Keep putting this pressure on the French, because they need to win 2 rounds if they want to stay in the competition.
Yeah, all is not lost. We still have 4 more races to go in this match, and still all to play for. But France making a good showing there. Hello to all those on the stream chat. I can see we've got some viewers from Australia. RG Tyler 88, good to see you here, and thanks for joining us. And we can see the standings here between the matchup between France and Germany. 1-0 to France, with 4 more races to go. We've got the offshore racer next, 3 versus 3. Arthur, talk us a little bit through how different the offshore racer is to the star, and what we can expect in this next race.
Well, I think in terms of speed, you have 2 pretty similar boats. They're both really slow, really maneuverable. But the big difference here is, of course, the spinnaker, which means that on the downwind, you're not going pretty much straight downwind, but you're making those angles. And then other than that, that spinnaker is really creating some massive wind shadows, which can really affect your downwind performance.
Yeah. I personally always find it very difficult with the offshore racer. Every time I go around that windward mark and I put the spinnaker up, I'm always putting it up too late. I get to the I get to the windward mark and I forget to press it in time. I don't know about you, Arthur. You're probably much better than I am, and so will these sailors be. But it's an error that I always make as a rookie.
Yeah, the offshore has a 5 second spinnaker sort of slowdown before it gets built up. So you really have to make sure that you hit it before the spreader mark, well in advance. Usually I do it right when I start entering the mark room of that spreader mark, and timing wise it comes out just about right.
Well, that's good tips. I'm gonna take that home. I'm gonna write that in my notebook right now. See how much I can learn from you as we go along. I think we've got we're just waiting on a few more boats here. So it's going to be three versus three, which is a little bit different to the 2 versus 2 makeup we've just seen. There's a few combinations to be aware of if you're watching at home. The 3v3 is a common team racing format that we see quite a lot in college and university sailing and things like that many of you might be used to. 10 points or less wins, and a 1-2 or anything else, and a 1-3 or anything else are considered very stable and strong combinations. So make sure you look out for those as we carry on and go through this 3v3 race. The 1 minute signal has gone, and we're about to start here and head into the second race of the match.
So yeah, opposed to the 2v2, the first place in the 3v3 is much more dominant, much more important. So at the start, you want to at least send off one of your guys, make sure they have a perfect start and are able to sail in front and cling on to that first position. Because if you have that from the start, you have a really good bonus to win this race.
Yeah, we're 20 seconds out here, and we can see the boats jostling, and we see a lot of circling in this pre-race just to avoid the penalties. We've got one boat going for the left-hand side of the line here. It's a very short line for the 6 boats. It could be very tricky here. And we've got one boat going for a port end tack here on a penalty start. And it looks like they've just been tagged by the other team and punished for that penalty start there. Arthur, what did you make of that?
Yeah, that was Johannes Bahnsen who tried to do a port hand start. I mean, the starting line is not that big to fit 6 of those offshore racers. So it was a smart decision, but well countered by Crickville from the French team, who tacked right on top of him, prevented him from exiting that penalty in an advantageous position. So now it's actually, I think, Crickville who's in the lead there on the right hand side of the course. And when he's able to get a shift and tack back, he'll be clearly ahead of Johannes Bahnsen, probably also some other German players.
Yeah, it's looking like quite a split course here. We've got wind on either side, as you can see in the top left, the mini map on the virtual regatta display here. We can see the windsocks in the top left, showing where the wind is. Where would you be positioning yourself, Arthur, on this race course?
Yeah, I think right now that left-hand shift that's showing up on the radar really shows that you want to be on that left-hand side of the course. So it looks like the French are all doing that, and with their 1-2-3 position, they're actually really solid going onto that first mark. So your tactic as a team there will be that you let 2 guys sail off in front, cling the 1 and 2, and then the third person will actually wait, perform a mark trap, and block any of the German players to come closer.
Yeah, are we going to see a mark trap in this Mark 1, do you think? Who have we got coming around?
Yeah,
it looks like Roxy Johnny's just sneaked in on the inside. Brave move, but he's done that to great effect and managed to be penalty free, which is fantastic. So he's snuck himself into that third position, which is going to put him ahead and make it very difficult for Crickville to hold up the remaining German players.
Yeah, we saw Crickville preparing for that mark trap, but he was just too late. Roxy Johnny timed that well, Then some friendly fire actually among the Germans on the downwind, I think, which caused Luxon to fall behind a bit.
Yeah, not great. You never want to be handing out a penalty to your own team. That's one way. I wonder what the team chat is going to be saying about that as we carry on here. Roxy Johnny, of course, we've seen him pull off that fantastic manoeuvre at the window mark there, just denying Crickville of that mark trap. But Roxy Johnny comes from a lot of experience in the eSailing community. 2022 finalist in the eSailing World Championships. As I say that, commentators curse. He's picked up a penalty again from Crickville. They're going to have a good battle going, continuing through this race, I think.
Yeah, I think the point of getting that penalty was to really minimize the damage done by Crickville, because as I said earlier on, that 1-2 position, it is giving you the win automatically. And with that little bit of a battle on the downwind from Crickville, they have quite a gap now from Johannes Bonsen and from Roxy Joni as well. So it will be quite difficult, I think, for the Germans to catch up again to that 1-2 and make sure that they catch some boats, because of course Crickville is still in the mix, and we'll try to slow them down as much as possible on that second downwind.
Of course, and Arthur, take us into the mind of the team chat at the moment, the voice communications going on in the German team. What kind of things will they be discussing and planning to try and get the better of this strong French 1-2 that they have at the moment?
Yeah, so now I think it's very important that it's very clear what each person will be doing on the downwind. So as you see, Johannes Bonsen's job will be to catch up to first and second place, and then for the other two players, for Roxy Joni and Luxon, they have to make sure that they don't get in each other's wind shadow, that they stay clear, go as fast as possible, because they really need to catch up a lot of distance.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty tough for them to get back from this. I think the 1-2, obviously a very strong combination in this 3v3 format, and we can see Babane and Alcalea just extending on that downwind with the two Team UOL eSailors bringing up the rear of this German team at the moment. A lot of ground to make up here.
Yeah,
and
I'm
Arthur,
looking at.
sorry, if people aren't familiar with eSailing or this UOL team, tell us a little bit about what that means.
Yeah, so UOL stands for Unicorns of Love, and it's actually a famous esports team that is active in a lot of other different esports as well. But they're also active in eSailing, and they have one of the strongest players in the game in their team. So if you see a player with that tag, then you know you're in for a battle.
Yeah, it's fantastic to see wider esports team being represented in the world of virtual regatta, and we can see that the French team have secured the 1-2, which will grant them the win of this second matchup, and that will put France with an extra point on the board.
Yeah, very solid execution. I think the first leg already showed that France was in a good position with that 1-2-3 at the mark. They were ready to make that mark trap. It just didn't work out, but they still managed to get enough distance between positions 1 and 2 and the rest of the fleet, and they kept it going till the end. So that was really the key here in this second race.
Totally, and I think the willingness of that French team to even extend their already strong position with that mark trap, even though it didn't come off, I think the mindset of that French team is just holding no prisoners and really going for it. So kudos to them going 2-0 up against Germany. Now, I'm not sure about you, but I think I was expecting France to maybe struggle out the blocks. You know, Germany have had their race already today, and might have been a little bit warmer than the French team, but it looks like the French team have come out of the blocks pretty strong anyway, with putting that second win on the board.
Yeah, and actually, if we compare this to the race from the Germans earlier on in the day, they managed to win their first races against Japan, but then lost the 3 next ones. So from now on, Germany has never won any of the following races yet. So hopefully they can change that around, starting off with the 4v4 in J70.
Yeah, it sounds like you've done your research, Arthur. That's a fantastic stat. That is very interesting. Um, Germany must struggle in the 4v4 races then. I wonder why that is. Is that something about their team makeup, or is it just the type of boats that they sail? Maybe what would make that so difficult for a team to get hold of?
I think communication is really key once you get to those bigger team sizes. And in the 4v4, I think it's almost necessary already to have a sort of captain that is sort of handing out the work to every member, because it is a lot of to keep track of, and you definitely want to make sure that when you're in a position that you're winning, that this is very clear for all the team members, that they don't make maneuvers that slow them down without them being necessary.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's going to be very interesting to see how this 4v4 matchup goes. And as we watch these J70s getting ready for the start, Oscar, can you tell us a little bit about the J70 and what we can expect from this kind of boat in this race?
So the J70 is actually one of the favorite boats of the community, one of the most popular ones. And it's a very good balanced boat, like a very well balanced boat. So you can have a lot of strategy on it, but it's not as slow as the Star or as the Ilka on upwind as well. So yeah, overall a very balanced boat, one of the favorite boats in the community. And we will see some very interesting battles in this boat for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, we're 10 seconds out at the start here. The German team have got 2 penalties already that they might be able to shake before the start. 2, 1, and the gun goes, and we're off. France have got the 1-2 already straight out the blocks, and well, it looks like we've got a bit of a split on the fleet here. We've got some boats going out right, some boats going out left, and I don't know where I want to position myself here, Arthur. Where would you want to be in this fleet at the moment?
I mean, what was really clear at the start was that you could see, and you can still see it right now, is that both teams are really spread out across the starting line. So they made sure the communication there was really great, and they made sure that no one was starting next to their teammates and blocking them too much. So aside from Barbie, I think, who was a little bit behind from the French team, they all managed to get a clear start without being punished by their teammates. And now it's really sailing on the shifts, sailing a little bit on the other team positions, but making sure you don't lose out valuable spots.
Yeah, it was super key to stay in the breeze and always sail on the lifted tack. That's always what was drilled into me when I was learning racing and understanding how the wind works. And it's the exact same on these virtual seas. And anybody who's listening home on the Twitch stream here on the Virtual Regatta channel, make sure and tell us who you think's going to win. Who's going to win this race? Give us your predictions in the chat, and we can see who comes out on top at the end. And we're just following UL PK out to this left-hand side, and we can see that they're probably going to be first in the pressure alongside Trap on this left-hand side. It looks like there's quite a big gust coming down that could hit the fleet just before they get to this windward mark, and we'll see how that plays on things here.
Yeah, we see Creekville there, who's a little bit more in the center of the map, with a bit of an advantage on the 2 German players below him, on Roxy Joni and Johannes Bahnsen.
Yeah, Crickville in the last match, they were sailing very conservatively under the first mark quite often. Is that a kind of style that we can see from them quite consistently, do you think, Arthur?
Yeah, I think each player, as soon as you hit a certain level, you play in your own style that you're familiar with, and it depends a lot on the boat classes as well. They all know their strengths in each boat class, and will play accordingly. So in the J70, I think you can see a lot more aggressive plays from the player, just because that boat is like Oscar said, so balanced and so maneuverable.
Yeah. And look, France are in a very strong position here with the 1, 2, 3. Although they have the 8th place, the current combination that they have would win this match. And we'll see. Looks like penalty on Roxy Johnny there, inflicted from Crickville. As again, that pairing are having a brilliant duel through these races. It looks like they've just had another penalty battle there, as they did in the last race.
Yeah, and again we saw a mark trap attempt from Crickville, a bit more successful this time. He managed to immediately create some distance between 1 and 2 and the rest of the fleet. So again, the French are in a really good position now, starting this downwind, and for Johannes Bahnsen, it's the most important job now to catch up to those two players in front.
Yeah, when we're following a close battle here. It looks like it's still all to play for. We've got a few predictions in the chat. Slido6 has said that France are going to win. I think that's a strong choice, considering the points on the board already from the French team. Some very esteemed players. We mentioned Alex Kay earlier on, 2022 eSailing world champion. When we were in Alicante with a live final, obviously knows what he's doing, and very handy around the virtual racetrack as well as the real racetrack. He is a laser sailor himself, Ilka sailor, the French team, and it's great to see the balance of real sailing and virtual sailing among a lot of these players. Arthur, what do you see the similarities between and the differences between virtual sailing and real sailing?
I think the accessibility to a race course at any time of the day, whenever you want, is really one of the big benefits of virtual sailing. And I mean, of course, you can't compare it to the physical exercise that you do in real life. But from a tactical point of view, sailing on the shifts, positioning yourself on the starting line, making good tacks, and yeah, choosing your position in the fleet according to the other boats is really something quite similar to real life sailing, where I think that eSailing can provide a lot of learning tools, really.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think positioning is such a key thing that's sometimes overlooked, even in real sailing. You think, oh, is it a shift kind of day? Is it a pressure kind of day? But if nobody's ever sure and it's somewhere in between, then that positioning rule always comes into play. And I think that's so valuable to learn on the virtual seas. And as you say, it's an incredibly accessible way of doing it. Most people these days, they've got a smartphone, they've got a laptop or something like that they can play this game on. And if you're at home and never played this before, then of course, we'd encourage you to download, head over to the App Store on your device and give it a download and give it a try. You can find yourself matched up with the sailors that you can see here. So it's an incredibly accessible way to get stuck in with esports. And who knows, you might find yourself sailing in the Nations Cup one day. Now, Arthur, talk us through what's going on here. We can see ULTK slowing down to try and make this a little bit more of a stronger combination for Germany. What can we see going on? Talk us through it.
Yeah, so I think they've seen that at the front of the fleet, Johannes Bahnsen is getting quite close, but not close enough to really give them a lot of chances there. So the only option for the German team to win this race is that when France finishes 1 and 2, they have to finish 7 and 8 in order to lose the match. So that's really what the Germans are forcing them to do now. They're forcing them to the back of the fleet, slowing them down, trying to hand out penalties, and making sure they end in those lost positions there.
We can see UL Luxon coming through here to convert that into France 7 and 8. So that's going to be still quite volatile for Germany, because they've got their sails in 1 and 2 who can still do something about this, but Germany sailing quite a smart race here, I think, and putting these two French sailors, Bill and Trap Barbie, at the back here. What's going to be going through those two French sailors' minds? Are they going to be thinking, "Oh, we shouldn't have let them do that"? Or are they going to be hungry just to keep going? What will be going through their minds?
Well, the French are doing exactly what you should be doing in this scenario, which is split up. Because for the Germans, they have to time it perfectly right that they finish in front of both of the French players. And by splitting up, you increase that difficulty. Because now, if one side gets a gust or the other side gets a gust, it's incredibly difficult to time that right. So the French did a good job there of splitting up, and we see one of the boats, Luxon, who followed to the left hand side of the course, which you can't see right now. with 3 other boats on the right, together with Kriegville. So now a lot of communication there to talk with your team, make sure that you time it right, and try to slow down both players on each side of the course.
Yeah, we can see these boats dancing on this left hand side, and Crickville handing out a penalty to Roxy Johnny there, which isn't going to do the Germans any favors. And it looks like France might just hold on to this, Arthur.
Well, France did get a penalty there on the other side of the course, and
Oh,
I think that's one of the German boats really staying on top, trying to slow them down, but I don't think it's gonna be enough. And that's one of the French boats there. I think that was Barbie, who just finished, giving another win to
wow.
France.
That was an incredible match there. Obviously, a strong start from the French with a 1-2, and just doing what they need to do, is making their last two sailors stay out of that 7th and 8th position, which has sealed them a third victory on this matchup, which will give them the overall win of the match. It's quite convincing here from the French. We'll see if they can make this and turn this into a decisive win. But as far as I'm aware, Arthur, if my maths are right, that's France through.
Yeah, exactly. France just secured themselves a spot in the knockout stage of the Nations Cup. For Germany, they really have to step up their game, and I think we start to see a pattern here where France is just dominating in those starts and first legs in the last 2 races. So that's really where Germany can make a difference. If they can make sure that at the start they get a dominant position, they might have a chance for 2 more wins.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. And France, we've picked out some individual players that have had some great experience through their eSailing careers. But France as a team, I mean, come on, 2-time Nations Cup winners already. They've been all over it from the get go. And who would? Why are we so surprised? I think they've shown themselves that they're the cream of the crop already in previous years, and I don't think this year is going to be any different, Arthur.
Yeah, no, you're completely right. I think it was said on Friday as well. France is really not just gonna give away any of those races, let alone a match. So to beat France, whether it's in a 2v2, 3v3, or 4v4, you really have to step up your game and show what your nation has for potential.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I mean, from the German point of view, they've still got work to do, but I think they can take a lot from themselves and how they've performed in these races. I think we mentioned it earlier, but Caroline Ju has been a star player for them, and that's no pun intended. She was great in the star class, but she has been a star player for the German team, and I think she's really shown her form through these 2 races. And we've joined the 4v4 Ilka round again, so we've got the similar format of the 4v4, but we're just swapping boats away from the J70 into the Ilka. And Oscar, I will come to you just to talk us through this Ilka class, is a virtual regatta. Tell us about it, and how are we going to see this race unfold in this class in particular?
So the Ilka was formerly known as the Laser, and it's the only Olympic boat in the group stages that we'll see. The other Olympic boats being the Nakra 17 and the 49er in the game. So yeah, Ilka is similar to the Star in the way where the downwind battles are going to dictate most of the race. So yeah, we're going to have some pretty intense downwind battles. Germany was very strong with the Star. Ilka, it has a similar style of playing, again, in the downwind side. So maybe we can see Germany taking the win on this round. We hope for them, because they do need to take 2 rounds if they want to stay in the competition.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting to hear as we count down until the go gun here, and we're off. What's the lay of the land here? Let's have a look. Who have we got in first position? Babane in first position. We've got quite a concentrated cohort of the French sailors in the middle of the pack here, and that goes along what we were saying earlier, that consistent sailing underneath the mark. We'll see if they keep those positions going on throughout this leg. We've got the Germans splitting the side of the course. I would say that's quite risky in my opinion. What do you think, Arthur?
I mean, the wind was quite neutral at the time of the start, so they didn't want to take a risk. They they wanted to be prepared for a left-hand shift, but also for a right-hand shift coming up. And yeah, I mean, it's of course a risk that you're taking. But I think overall the Germans still had a pretty decent start. It's just a matter now of making sure that in their maneuvers, which are also very important in the laser, that they don't lose out on a lot of distance, which I think they are doing a bit right now.
Yeah, we can see everybody is on port cat, heading over to the right-hand side of the course here. There looks like there's a little bit of a breeze and a right-hand shift on that right-hand side, which is why I think we can see all them heading over into that direction. I think we can probably see that. I'm going to say this is Knud or Nud. I don't know if that K is silent or not, so apologies if we butchered your name there. But they're probably going to come out pretty nice on this right-hand side, picking up this little bit of a stronger breeze and right-hand shift, and we'll see how that influences the Germans' tactics here. What are they going to be saying on the comms chat at the moment, Arthur? They're in the 4, 6, 7, 8 at the moment, according to my leaderboard. What's going to be going through the team's heads at the moment?
Yeah, I think right now they're they're not gonna be that happy with the wind. I just saw that right hand shift disappear into thin air. So Nut, who's trying to get a good shift there, completely lost out, and it looks like the French are back in the lead. We do have one boat, which is Carolinju, who's now rounding the mark in second position. So but yeah, just taking up a mark penalty there, touching the mark. That's gonna put her back a little bit, but she's still gonna be on top. So that's an important position there for the Germans to keep hold of and try to stick to those top positions. That's really what they want to do right now.
It's going to be a little bit costly for Caroline Jew, and I could even see Halkalea just hunting her down, trying to drag that penalty out. It's a tactic we see quite a lot. When you pick up a penalty, your boat grays out and you're no longer playable in the game. But if you have an opposition boat sailing within your grayed out boat, then that penalty is extended and you're out the game and you're not able to control your boat to the best ability. It's a tactic we see quite a lot, and it can be really effective just to increase those margins between boats and extend those leads. We can see France have got 1-2, but Carolinju is making it very hard for them to keep that 1-2.
Yeah, and I think Carolinju has a hook there in the front of your screen, and she sticks that hook, gives a penalty to Halkalea, and that is going to put her back into second position, and she's going to cover Halkalea up to give her some additional position losses.
Yeah, it looks like a bit of tit for tat there. Carolinju was she was the recipient of a little bit of an extended penalty from Halkalea, and she's just done the exact same back to them. So it's great to see a little bit of a battle again between two players as we go around this racetrack.
Yeah, and I'm really seeing a comeback from the German team there with a penalty from Esperanzich to Acer, which is very weird to give the world champion a penalty. So good job there. And it looks like Carolinju is solid in her second position, slowing down both Baban on the left and Halkalea on the right, and allowing her teammates to come back and hopefully close the gap. So good job there by the Germans with that gate rounding. Penalty there to Baban. Very well performed by Carolinju, just at attack, handing out, I think, a Rule 13 penalty where Baban was still tacking, and is now making a jibe to get up to speed again, losing a lot of distance that way. I don't know if that was intentional or not. Probably not.
Interesting tactics, and I've got to say, if I'm picking out a player of the match, I don't know about you, Arthur or Oscar, but mine has got to be Carolinju. I don't care what happens, who wins, France, Germany. She has performed exceptionally, and to see her dishing out penalties left, right, and centre like this, it makes for exciting watching.
Yeah, it really is, and also the amount of distance that she has lost because of that penalty was quite minimized. We see Halkalea on the right hand side, who's now, I think, got back up into second place, but we have all 4 German boats now in the mix, and for the Germans, this is actually a winning position. right now.
Yeah,
So
I think it's been really. And just to go back to my player of the match predictions, but as commentators, we're privy to some of the conversations that goes on in Discord, and as far as I'm aware, I don't think she'd logged into Discord since the Nations Cup last year. So I don't know how much training she's done, but if she's just rocked up again after a year off, I think it's pretty impressive to see how calculated some of these penalties have been. Arthur, you said she didn't lose much distance with these, but yeah, impressive stuff.
A bit of background on Carolina. Apparently, she is no longer playing a lot of virtual eSailing, but she is practicing regularly with her fellow Germans in team racing. So all of her techniques and strategies, she picks it up from the team racing that she does throughout the year.
Fantastic. Well, yeah, it's good to hear a bit of a background on our players, and yeah, that's cool to hear. We've been very impressed with her, and as you say, they've got the winning combination now. So what's going to happen as we come into this final leg? Are we going to see the 1-2 of the France holding up? What are we going to see here, Arthur? What can we expect?
yeah, I think focus should be put on Esperanzig right now. So he's in a big wind shadow, and actually, I think Baban has already started catching up. And I think Baban just did. So it's going to be up to the other teammates to slow down Baban, give him a penalty, hopefully.
Oh, it's tight. Oh, it looks like Nud's just picked up a penalty there, and that is going to give France win number 4 on the scoreboard. It was all down to that last leg again, wasn't it? Wow. So we got a France 1, 2, 4, and 8, which will, I believe, give them the win.
Yeah, I think so too, and it's really it's really hurting me inside to see this, because we saw Germany coming back in that race. I really thought at some point that they were going to cling that win when they rounded that second top mark, but France still managed to hang on to a little bit of wind shadow, slow down Esperanzig, and it changed the entire race again.
Well, I think that's the joy with team racing, isn't it, Arthur? You can see the scoreboard, and we've seen it with so many of these group matches as we follow along with this Nations Cup. We see the decisive wins in the entire matches, but realistically, a lot of the matches have actually been quite close despite the scoreboard.
Yeah, exactly. In eSailing, the scoreboard says a lot, but doesn't say everything. And I think looking at this right now, you'd say, okay, this is a pretty boring and monotone match, but it definitely wasn't the case so far. I think in every single one of them, Germany had a chance, and they definitely still do in the last race.
Yeah. So you say last race, we've got a 3v3 again. We've seen that earlier with the offshore racer, but this time we're going to be doing it at a little bit of a faster boat. We've got the F50, which is modelled on the Sail GP boats, of course, and they're a lot faster. We've got catamarans. Oscar, give us your interpretation of the F50 and what it brings to the game of virtual regatta.
So F50 is one of the fastest, if not the fastest boat in real sailing and in the game. The tactic for this boat is to have a really good start. It's a lot easier to win your race if you have a strong start and dominating this 1-2 position at the start at least. You can see all the boats lining up at the end over there near the boundaries. That's because they want to be at maximum speed when they cross the start line to have this optimal start.
Yeah, and we can see a reaching start, Arthur. Now, I'm not sure about you, but I've not done much team racing with a reaching start. It's a little bit unconventional. What kind of tactics? Where are you going to want to position yourself if, as a team on a reaching start line?
Yeah, so you want to be as low as possible, because in a reaching start, it's really rule elf that you want to be careful of it, which is the sort of hook where you come from below, you luff up another boat, and you take them out.
Yeah, and we're just counting down to the start here, and everybody has been up to speed. And the French, it looks like Trap has actually missed the start, so they've had to hook round the committee vessel and restart themselves on the back foot straight away. Could this be the first German point on the board?
Yeah, it might just be. As I was talking about that hook maneuver, we saw ESG 777 perform just that and pushing two of the French boats out of the course, gave a penalty to one and pushed one of them out of the starting line. So really good job there by the Germans, putting them in a 1-2 position right now.
Yeah, fantastic job. And we can see the 1-2 all heading out to the left hand side, trying to get this breeze. There looks like a little bit more pressure in this top left corner with a left shift. So that left hand side is going to be where we'll see most of these boats tic tacking their way up against that boundary line. Talk us about these white and yellow lines, Oscar. What do these mean, and are we going to see penalties? How is this going to influence the race for these boundary lines?
So the boundaries lines are actually the lines to limit the course. So the players have to stay inside these limits if they don't want to be slowed down. If they ever touch or go too far beyond these boundaries, they're going to get penalized and slowed down. So you definitely want to avoid them. You'll see actually a lot of them doing their tacks and jibes at the limits of it, really risking it all. But yeah, these lines make sure that the fleet stays together and we can see a more interesting battle at the center of the race course.
Yeah, and we've got a different format for our windward marks here that we've seen before. Before we've seen a windward mark and an offset mark, but as I can see here, we've got a gate on this course. And which side are you going to be picking, Arthur? And how do the mark traps actually work with these gate marks? A little bit more difficult to do, isn't it?
Yeah, having a mark trap here is of course more difficult because the boat of the opposing team always has the option to just stack and take the other mark. Other than that, you also have the fact that the boats are much quicker, so it's actually disadvantageous to slow down your boat to give the other boat a penalty, because the time it takes you to speed up again is much larger than the advantage that you get from giving them a penalty.
Yeah, we've just seen a little bit of a battle between Zavnis and Kud there. Kud just losing out with a penalty, and it looks like France are going to improve their position here with a 2-3-4 coming into this gate, which is it's a little bit of an unstable combination, but it's a winning one nonetheless.
Yeah, it is a winning one, and it's gonna be up to Esperance now to try to slow down the French. And I see that the French are even slowing down themselves as well, with Asir ending up a little bit in the wind shadow of Xavnis there. So hopefully the Germans are able to close up that gap to Asir and at least make up one more position, because right now they are indeed in a losing position.
Yeah, and we spoke about Alex Kay earlier on, 2022 eSailing world champion, but of course we've got our current world champion, UL is here, and Tristan Perron, who is making up this French team and putting them currently in the winning combination. So lots of talent in this French team as a whole, as a team and as individuals, and it's fantastic to see them succeeding in the way that they are.
Yeah, they're really doing a great job, and they're racing in such a coherent way. We see no miscommunication whatsoever. But yeah, that's really not anything that you wouldn't expect from a winning team.
No, absolutely, and we can see a boundary penalty on ESG 777 here. They've just miscalculated that tack, which is a bit of a shame. So that's put them into a little bit of a deeper six at the back of the fleet here, and we've got a penalty on Trap Brest there, who's just picked one up with a port starboard on the gate mark there. Now, what is going to be happening going into this final leg? We've got a short downwind and into a reach. Where are we going to want to be positioned coming into here, Arthur?
Yeah, well, I'm just following along, and Esperance just got a penalty there, which was quite important, together with another penalty given by
really
Asir.
aggressive finish on the French here. Wow.
I think that just showed the level of the French in a way to dominate this entire evening.
That was an incredible way to finish a race, all on the last leg. As aggressive as you like. That was an impressive finish. That was like a slam dunk, wasn't it? 1-2-3 from France. They seal the win, and they seal a 5-0 decisive win in the group stage A. Fantastic.
Yeah, and I think even with a replay, to be honest, I wouldn't be sure where to look at because so much happened in that last part of the race. It was first Esperanza who tried a little bit of a mark trap, I think, at the top mark. It didn't work out well, and then Asir just started his penalty streak and didn't stop.
That was some incredible racing. Oscar, some thoughts from you from that race?
Yeah, I don't know what to say. It was some incredible racing. Acer came in from the back. He actually missed his start at the start of that F50 race, and then, as you saw, went with this very aggressive move, which allowed the French to score 1, 2, 3. The other teams are going to have to step it up if they want to compete with France, because they have shown some really high level tonight. 5-0 for France. It's going to be tough to beat them.
I totally agree. They've shown some real prowess there, and we said it before. I'll say it again. Double Nations Cup champions already. Why would we expect anything less? But I think my standout player. I'll ask you guys the same. But my standout player was definitely Caroline Ju from Germany. I think despite being on the losing side of this dominant French team, she put in a really good showing. What about you, Arthur? Who's your standout player from today's race?
I think I'm gonna be boring and choose the same person as you. She just surprised me in such a great way, and I think she's really an example of what female eSailors can bring to the game, because they're not that well known, but they can play so well, and we just saw that today.